Okay, we're finally starting. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Club Corbie. And on today's stream, we're going to be continuing to work on our lettering. So I don't know how long the stream is going to be. We might go the full hour, or it might be a little bit shorter. Depends on how long it's going to take us to get this page done, because I really don't know. Well, the last page we did ended up taking us a full show. It was a full hour long stream just to get one page lettered. And I was surprised, but I really don't have anything for us to do beyond this. Today the next page isn't, we're not ready to start on it yet, so we'll just get on with it. We'll see how we do. I've done something a bit different in terms of how I've started to process this. If you watched the last stream, I was just copying in every block of text, and I would duplicate each one as we did it. It was kind of an awkward way of doing it. So the way that I've done this today is I just dropped all the dialogue down the right side of the page, and we're just going to take them one at a time, move them over, tweak them, and eventually we'll add in the balloons. So first of all, I think this text might be a bit big. I don't know what it is, but even though all the canvases for each page should be the same size, and so each individual panel, it should be consistent. For some reason, every single page I need to adjust the size of the text. So usually it's like 14 points. Sometimes we need to increase it, sometimes we need to decrease it. Also, I'm going to change justification. So we're going to drop any unnecessary little bits and pieces of dialogue just to tighten up a bit. Oh, I didn't think that was going to fit, but that actually looks like that. Or in fact, we could even make better use of sort of the dead space. Move it up here. Nah, it's better there because that's completely blank space, I think. And we want to make sure that the size of the text is consistent as well. So that's 14. So we'll scale this one down. Oh. Oh, I don't like that at all, that little block of background area there. That is... Oh, in fact, there's a huge chunk of the background there was going right through Sadie's character art. I don't know how I missed that. Gotta go in and get rid of that. You know what I think happened there was I added in that arm that's in the background, or further away from us, after the event, because I wanted to sort of flesh Sadie's character out, you know, her outline out a bit more, make her look a bit more three-dimensional, and in doing so, I didn't realise that the line of background was in the way. So this is a little bit annoying because I don't like having to work on the actual character or the backgrounds in a lettering stream. But you know, once in a while you notice something and you've just got to go in and fix it. And again, we've got to scale this down. Okay. Rather than adding the bubbles just now, we'll just leave the text there and we'll go on to the next panel. Again, I'm looking at the sort of dummy bubbles, the placeholder bubbles, just to get an idea of where I wanted the speech bubbles to go initially, where I figured they would end up going. And yeah, Goofy Coon never did get corrected. That face has remained. If you recall, there was the previous stream where I said I didn't even intend for her to look quite like that, and I just could not bring myself to change that face because it just brought me so much amusement. So much mirth. Okay, maybe that would work better. Like that. Okay, we'll take the next chunk of speech, scale that down. That block of text is always going to look a bit awkward because of the way that it works, where the it is the smallest word, and see if I just make you the top line and then sure you're the middle line, that is gonna. Nah, I don't think it's gonna work. It's better if it's just sort of squared off, I think, or at least that's the way that I prefer it. Now this might be too big again. Oh, well, I've still got the scale down. Maybe it would work better if it just says overdoing things. I need to just tighten this up a bit. I'm going to choke that down. A little bit of dialogue again, just to try and tighten things up. If you can say something, and I've said this before on previous lettering students, if you can say something in fewer words, or sort of convey the same idea in a more concise fashion, that's a big part of making the most of the space that's available to you. Technically, we really should make that first line that You know what, maybe actually. Nah, it's fine like that, just again. Shorter, snappier dialogue is better. Not just because it takes up less space, but also because the less time that the reader spends having to scan each bubble, the less clunky the dialogue is, you know. The snappier it is, the better. Especially when we likely only have the reader's attention for a couple of seconds and then they're going to move on, they'll scroll up and they'll be looking at something else. So again, I've got to remember, scale it down. It might just be because you can see the white outline around the text there, but I'm gonna increase the line spacing a bit there. Line spacing on this page has been fairly tight on each block of text. But I'll just let it out a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing, which is, we're kind of at a disadvantage because we have, on this panel, Corinne and Sadie have their backs to us. So we can kind of see Corinne has her mouth open, but we don't really get to see her reactions, which is possibly a staging error on my part, and it would have worked better if I could somehow get the expressions of all the characters in the shot, you know. But I'm actually going to increase this little bit of speech bubble between Corinne and Sadie there, and there'll be like a gasp. So we've got all of our text where we need it to be. And now we're going to go back in and we're going to add the speech bubbles, the actual bubbles that go around the text. And as you know, if you've watched me do this before, a real bit of a trial and error involved here in getting each speech bubble exactly how we want it. Now, I thought that I didn't think that was going to block off as much of Corinne's head as it did there. I'm really not happy about that. Even if I try and tighten it up a bit. So I always want to make sure I can move this up, but I always want to have a little bit of breathing room, and I'm really not happy with that either. I think a better solution would be, this is a big chunk of dialogue. I think what we should do is split this in two. It's a really difficult thing because I need to rewrite this text. I think to sort of split it. And I'm making typos as I go. It's kind of awkward. I need to make sure that all the dialogue still flows the same way, you know, and then Corinne's second sort of chunk of dialogue becomes like a question. It sort of changes the way that Sadie would respond to it, so I'm having to think about all these things on the fly. Again, I think we had this on the previous stream. I was talking about that I've been having a bit of an issue with Corinne maintaining eye contact with Sadie, and because of the height difference between them. I often have this thing where it looks like she's looking down at her feet rather than making eye contact. Anyway, I'm very tempted to move these two bubbles down at the bottom. Actually, I think they're taking up too much space in the middle of the panel. We've still got two more panels to finish off, so. And here was me thinking this might end up being a very short stream today, but well, we've still got stuff to do. And this page definitely has had a few issues. Okay, this is really maybe taking things a step too far, but I think that we could make better use of the spaces available to us there. We're moving this definitely over here, and then it's still, well, maybe if we merge these two into sort of a combo bubble. Film is I can't have it block off too much of Sadie because she's very critical to this panel working, so. extended myself. That's a very awkward bit of dialogue. I needed to say it in the most concise fashion if possibly could, because I haven't left myself enough room here to squeeze this in. And also, well, I don't like the way that text is butting into the line beneath it as well. So I'm going to fix that. Okay, that really is not. I'm not happy about this bubble at all. You're always doing the best you can with the space that you have available to you, and that is a very tight gap there, and that's something I'm going to need to take on board for future panels and future pages, is making sure I'm giving myself enough room. And I don't really mind if the very top of a character's head is cut off like Corinne's is there, but you can only sort of cut off so much before it starts to look awkward. If the bubble starts coming down too far, like if I brought the Sadie speech bubble down to like here, then, and she's, you know, especially if she's talking and she's not just a character who just happens to be there, if she's actually in focus and her speech bubble sort of obscuring her, then that's bad. We want to, there's a certain threshold, is what I'm trying to say, where we don't want to over step the boundaries. Now this one here, I'm going to change it so he just says, well, from now on, that's going to be plain stuff. It didn't really make much sense if Corinne was saying, well, you were right, I was exhausted, I was overdoing it. And then Sadie says, well, good. It makes more sense if she says, well, from now on. It's going to be plain sailing for both of us. Which is really just setting them up for a fall, by the way, you know, because it's not going to be plain sailing for both of them. Because then they turn the corner and Craven is there. They've got like, what is it, 2.5 years of it not being plain sailing for either of them. 2.5 years being in reference to, I think that was how long it was established in issue 1. I believe that's how long Karen and Sadie are going to be at school for. That's how much longer they've got left before they graduate. So no, I don't like that. We need to. Oops. I think I might reformat this a bit. Again, making the most of this sort of dead space. Would be too tall. Then again, I can you think who's the size of the tail just to accommodate for the fact that it's on a black background. There we go. And then finally, we're gonna do something very simple, which is we're gonna have a bubble down here, and like I said earlier, we want to just emphasize how not ready for this both Karen and Sadie are. Okay. And I think with that, this page is done. Not my favourite in terms of the way that we've had to do the lettering. We had to make a few, you know, a few little compromises to get things to work as you know, to make the most of the space that was available to us, and to do things in the most effective way that we could with the constraints of this particular page. One of the best ways to not have this issue is to make sure your dialogue is very concise and very snappy going in. And of course I'm always trying to make allowances for these things. That's why I do the dummy speech bubbles early on when I'm doing the storyboard, so I have some idea about where the speech bubbles are going to go, or if I'm going to have a particularly wordy balloon that's going to obscure part of the page, then I know that that's coming, and I can sort of make allowances for that in the art as well. Right, but that's going to do it. The next stream, which I'm hoping should be tomorrow afternoon, we should be back to doing another illustration stream. Back to just drawing the next page, which is going to be page 25. And yeah, there was one other thing as well. We have done, I think, 54 or maybe even 55 streams on across Periscope and on YouTube as well. But I'm starting to think maybe that it's time to streamline our focus, and maybe we'll move the streams exclusively back to Twitch, unless anyone has any objections. So what I would suggest is, first of all, this is just, I'm still open to feedback on this. If you're not watching on Twitch, it might be a good time to start. If anybody feels really strongly about it, if they do watch regularly on Periscope or Twitter or on YouTube, let me know, and I'll continue to do it. But I don't think, after doing this now for, like I said, about 55 streams, and I don't think that it's actually been helpful. I think, if anything, it might be a good idea for me to streamline my focus. I think most of our viewership historically has been on Twitch, and I'm just not sure if there's any benefit to spreading myself or trying to spread myself across 3 or 4 platforms. So we might experiment. We might do a few Twitch only streams and see if the numbers are better that way. Because I've got to be honest with you, I actually think that Twitch penalizes me for not going through Twitch directly. I think by using VStream and having the share across 4 different platforms, I think it actually it hurts the numbers on Twitch itself. But that's just, I don't know if there's any truth to that. It's just something that I've noticed. Is we used to get a lot more developing viewers when we were on Twitch exclusively, and I don't see that anymore. So, like I said, I want to maybe experiment a bit and see if we do some Twitch only shows, if it helps to bring in more viewers. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. But just something to make you aware of. And the main thing is, Club Corbie will continue anyway, so even if it's going Twitch only. As always, keep an eye on the Corbie Twitter account as well. It's at ReadCMC, and I will keep you informed of exactly what's happening. But for now, that is going to do it, and I hope to see you on the next edition of Club Corbie, where we start this all over again with page 25, because that's how it works. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and yeah, I look forward to being with you on the next edition of Club Corbie.